Yeah, this half an hour that we spend here should give you enough information to do more. Right? Get excited, get motivated, start with the right approach, and starting right is very important. All right, that's it. Shall we get started?
Bismillah.
Somebody left, so.
Oh, I went to the bathroom.
I think we all are here for one purpose, to understand real estate, and there is nothing better, there is no better way to put than saying staying informed is key to success. A lot of mistakes that we do, a lot of investments that we do, the worries that we live with, it's all because we miss some information, right?
नहीं आप क्या करें ये स्पीकर को तो यहाँ पे माइक को जो नीचे
Can you hear
करिए
now?
Is it better?
Yes.
So we just lowered the volume, that's all.
So it's never complete information, but as long as we have sufficient information. Everybody's approach is a little different. Mine was a little different when I started. I'll talk a little bit about how I started with my introduction. So Imtiaz Syed, I've been in Dallas for about 25 years. Started at Microsoft back then, and that was my only job. And I resigned last year, March. 5 years back, I mean, more relentlessly and passionately. I was on and off with real estate, but really went into it having some capital, not knowing what to do with it. In the situation, probably most of the guys are here. I started looking at lands. It took me about 2 years to make my first decision. And even after making that decision, up to a year, I was not sure if I've done it right. So to go out, look for information, be relentless about it, keep gaining perspectives, and then you get to a point where you can say, okay, I know enough to, at least in certain areas, that I can make my decision. And I think that's the right way to do it, instead of just looking at a land. A lot of people I see, oh, that's green, that road is good, I liked it. That's not the way to do it. You really need to know a whole lot more about it. And it keeps growing. It's not that it's impossible. You start, you keep focus, you learn. Anytime you get an opportunity like this, or any offering you get, any land you see, anytime you pick up a phone, you're gaining information. So done my BS and MS here in US. Our objective here will be to understand North Dallas real estate. Well, the entire Dallas is growing, not just Dallas, maybe about 10, 15 cities in US through COVID. We're exploding in real estate, but we'll talk about North Dallas because we'll use that as a point of understanding, and then we can extrapolate it to any area, including Dallas. We'll talk about on maps the upcoming infrastructure projects and growth areas, and mostly it will be my perspective, but we may have more perspectives from the audience here. We'll look at land value transition, how the land gains value. Of course, you hold the land, every property in its current form, if it's at the right place, will grow in value over time. Maybe not consistently, sometimes a little slower, sometimes a little faster. Traditionally, Texas have done 5%, except for last 3-4 years. Some of the areas have been just extraordinary. We'll talk about how the land transitions in value from the various things that add value to the lands, including utilities, zoning, entitlement, development, construction, which is basically the final product. Investment types, again, we think of investment as buying a home and flipping it, or maybe investing somewhere we get rentals. But really in real estate, there's so many flavors of getting in and getting out and driving some value out of it. We'll look at what those flavors are, how improving the land, what kind of improvements will bring more value to it. Ownership flavor, of course, individual ownership. Some have done groups, some are looking to be in groups. We will look at it in a little bit more details and see some of the legalities too, how to do it right, how to set up a good legal structure around it, what is legal, what is illegal when you group together as an investment unit. Then we'll look at manage investment offering structures in a little bit more detail. we get a lot of investment opportunities. Hey, here we are buying an apartment. Hey, we are grouping up for this land. Hey, we have this hotel that we are going to do something about. There is an office complex here we are getting for a good price. A lot of people look at, who is running it, what they are getting out of it, right? Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But most important in making a decision about investment offering is, will the investment make sense? When you make a group offering, it has to make sure the person who's working is successful. People who are investing are successful. As investors need to research, is this project feasible? Is this what it is? To understand that, you need to understand more about real estate. So we'll talk a little bit about real estate, get there and understand offering structures and how to evaluate them. And then moving forward, some of the motivational thing, we've been here, spend an hour, half an hour. What do we do next? Should we leave it here? How do we go on and add on to the information to be successful in real estate? So talking about North Dallas, this is a little bit of the red lines are the infrastructure that is happening right now and how things have progressed. Traditionally Dallas, we think Dallas, okay, we have been here, Coppell, we are in Irving, airport, we grew because of airport here in Irving. Coppell grew as suburb of Dallas, just those who have been here
Move it down a little bit.
maybe through my time.
You just hold it in your hand probably.
नहीं आप ऐसा कर ले, इसको ऐसा लगा दे, नीचे लगा दे, नीचे लगा दे।
Is it better?
I did already.
That's much better.
That's much better.
Do we really need this microphone?
Do we need it?
If you guys can hear it, that's fine. We can take it off.
I think we're fine without it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
So if you see somewhere around the 635 line, that's maybe, when you were here, it was growing 40 years back. It started there. Then we had George Bush, those who came here 20 years back, we saw some development around it. Of course, we come very close to George Bush infrastructure. What happened recently though, this growth was slow over last 20 to 25 years. COVID happened, but even before COVID, there were a lot of people who were moving into Dallas. And if you talk to realtors all around, when you go to Salina, Prosper, there were new communities that were coming up and you talk to them and say, who is buying it? You take anyone from Irving to Prosper, they will say, who's going to live here? This is too far, right? But that has changed. You get to hear from realtors that, well, there is a lot of migration going on from all of US. And as you try to comprehend, will people go here from Irving to Prosper? Because when people move to Frisco, a lot of Irving guys thought that he might not have gotten good bonus or raise. That's the reason he's moving there. Homes are a little cheaper than Irving. But it changed quickly. When 121 happened, most of new Dallas businesses from Legacy West to all the commercials that are coming up here, office spaces, George Bush to 121, George Bush on Tollway through Frisco, Edison, Frisco, Prosper, Salina. This is a very hot area for offices, businesses. 121 from Colony to McKinney, 380 from Little Elm to McKinney, and then right now I think even 75 from Plano to McKinney. All this within itself is now 2 to 3 times of Dallas downtown in office space, and it's growing crazy. So essentially, this is New Dallas. Not just New Dallas as in suburb of Dallas, this is new center of Dallas. So when we grew with this Dallas, the influence area being Flower Mound, Louisville, maybe a little bit of Colony, Plano, Murphy, Dallas moved itself about 20 miles north. What's going to happen because of that is the areas coming down all the way from Sherman to McKinney will be down to McKinney in 25 minutes from Sherman. So Sherman is not a town outside of Dallas. It's more feasible to live in Sherman if you have a job in McKinney or Allen or even Frisco than going from Irving to McKinney. And McKinney is pretty much right now defining a lot of real estate around it. And if you see the new infrastructure that's coming up, this tollway which was built till 380, right when subprime meltdown happened, is now up to Selena, and then there is a road going up to Gunther. A lot of American migration that happened from the congested areas as they move out from density happened to McKinney, Allen, Frisco, Little Elm, and now these have become just as dense, even worse because the infrastructure is still upcoming. These guys are starting to move into Tioga, Pilot Point, Gunther, Van Alstyne, all the way to Sherman, Westminster, Blue Ridge, Farmersville, up to Greenville to the east. So the change in the center of Dallas now made all these properties very feasible to live and drive in. So if you drive some of these roads, all this, you see some of the FM roads in white lines, some of the state highways, national highways. When you go drive this, you will see so much of construction that is upscale, right? When people made their money here, they moved up to these areas and they buy bigger and better. So someone who put in 100,000 in a Selena home for 450K, now that home is maybe 850. They can take out their 500,000, move into $1 million home a little bit to the north. So that's one of the transition. A lot of people coming from, we have a lot of new people here, but you see people from California, especially through COVID. When COVID happened, as this was developing, there was remote jobs, people wanting to leave, weather conditions from north. Even from Toronto, we see a lot of people coming from Canada. We have COVID issues, New York density, high risk. People wanted to move around New York, but a lot of them moved to Dallas. As people moved here, these areas exploded in construction and development. So 380 is now being developed. It was 380 from Denton or even Decatur to Greenville was built maybe 20 years back, 25 years back planning. You hardly see a car or two if you go there maybe 20 years back. Now it's one of the busiest roads. Just to go on 380 from Prosper to Denton is much longer time than going from Irving to Denton, just because how it has exploded over here. So to ease up 380, which actually there is gonna be a freeway built from 380 going into Princeton. That's gonna ease up and make Princeton a lot more accessible. We have a parallel Collin County outer loop. If you guys have heard about that, there is a lot of real estate going on, transactions going on around Collin County outer loop that starts from 35, 377, Tollway, Preston Road, and then 75 crossing 78 at Blue Ridge, coming down to Farmersville all the way to Royce City. This belt is growing from Selena to Melissa. It's pretty much done. Even from Melissa to 121. This road is done, and not just done, it is being used. It is about to maybe even get blocked with all the homes that are coming up. That makes even this intersection, maybe in next 3 to 5 years, it will be very similar to maybe 121 and D&T, where we have IKEA. When IKEA was there, about 7-8 years back, that was a lone business. We used to think, why did he really put the business up here? Now that's one of the most busiest intersection. 121, when it happened, it grew so fast, maybe one of the fastest developing corridor of America, entire America. But 380 is outdoing 121. in terms of what's coming up there. Outer loop, I think because it's 380, it's outdoing. Now the new businesses who cannot come here will look for lands around these places. So Selena, Prosper, Weston, estate homes right there, Anna, Melissa, Wiley, even maybe Princeton. These are the places. If you go from 121 to Allen, the homes there are pretty much 800 to a million if you're looking at 3,500 square foot. Since the prices went up, if somebody wants to buy an affordable home, 350 to 400K, these places, Wiley, Princeton, even Selena, some part of Selena, now they're getting expensive too. So there was a lot of construction for residential homes around these places. This is pretty much some of the infrastructure that's coming up, what's happened, how the value transition, why this grew faster, and it's gaining more attention with time. But that was northeast Dallas, not necessarily just northeast. If you go to Fort Worth, south of Fort Worth, Burleson, up to Cleveland, there is a new tollway there. Even Aledo, Weatherford. So what's happening from McKinney to Greenville, or even Colony to McKinney, the same things are happening west of Fort Worth, south of Fort Worth too. Because we understand this market better, I'm talking about it, it's not limited to just northeast in Dallas. So this is a little bit of expansion into, I should have had McKinney here, because at some point I had something going on in Denton, so I drew this a little bit closer. Again, this is North Dallas Tollway, Selena, Prosper, PGA right here. If you see PGA by Tollway and 380, it's a $10 to $12 billion project with hotels, offices, you name it, residential. Recently, PGA had some residential lots that were released to builders. 13,000 square foot lot started at $950, and a half acre lot at $2.5 million. Sold out within no time, just the lots. And the builders are building at $450 a foot. This is last 2 months.
On Prosper?
Yeah, this is more of Frisco, Prosper.
Oh, Frisco.
And then there is a Fields project next to PGA. We heard about Disney coming there. Right? Don't know till it shows up. But the Fields project is a 3,000 acre, maybe a 2,000 to 2,500 residential. PGA is like that. Winsong Ranch is right here at Prosper, 7,000 homes, 3,000 acres. Recently, if you guys have heard, Selena Green Meadows, that was about 12 to 1,500 acre community with more than 10,000 homes. That changed hands. 1,000 acres was sold to a investor for $150 million. And that investor, he has offers for more than $250 million on that land. Go a little bit north, there is something called Dinah West, if you guys have heard about it.
Could you repeat that name?
Dinah West.
Dinah.
It's a 3,200 acre golf course community by Centurion American. More than 7,000 homes. So these are some of the big ones. The main idea behind it is to understand that when we go to Prosper or when we drive to Selena and look at agricultural lands, we are thinking, well, who's gonna come live here? But in reality, those are now more preferred destinations than even Irving right now. And what's coming up? Yeah, there will be some slowdown with current interest rates and stuff, but once it's mobilized, once the investments are, each acre when developed is valued at least 250 to 300K. 1,000 acres developed is more than 300 million, right? So, and then add homes to that, it's like billions of dollars of projects. So when builders mobilize these projects, they are gonna happen. They're gonna slow down a little, they're gonna pick up. They may take a little bit of time if it slows down with interest rates, but it's gonna happen. And when it happens, it's gonna be the preferred destination. So these areas are exploding. When you go there, start researching. looking for land. There's still a lot of commercial opportunity out there, and the commercials here are just as expensive as Frisco right now. Don't lose the understanding just because you don't see it. A lot of us will comprehend the value when we see things. You see a nice building, you see hotels coming up, you stand there and you feel good about it. You want to buy something there, a rental or a strip mall. But really the best way is to really know what's coming up and be there 2-3 years ahead of it. So you have a buffer as things happen, the value grows, and then it is happening. And when you know it's happening, when you know the plans, that's where you have to be. So if somebody comes to me in Frisco and say, here's a great land at $30 a square foot, you can put a school, Montessori school, and takes me to Selena and says, okay, here's a piece of land at $18 a foot, which if I'm looking for a school, I would go for Selena. Not just because Selena will grow in value, but also because it's a better place for schools, because all the new families will be showing up there, right? So you really have to see what you're doing, where you are, what's coming up there, and make your value journey. Any questions on these maps?